I want to tell you a little story. Goes back to the time of King Arthur. There's lots of myths and lots of stories and lots of legends. But there's a story about, and the title or the name of the story is What a Woman Really Wants. And this is a really good story with a moral. And let me start it this way. Young King Arthur was ambushed and he was imprisoned by the monarch of a neighboring kingdom. And the monarch could have killed him, but was moved by Arthur's youth and ideas and ideals, so the monarch offered him his freedom as long as he could answer a very difficult question. And Arthur would have a year to figure out the answer, and if after a year he still had no answer, he would be put to death. Now here's what the question was. What do women really want? Such a question would perplex even the most knowledgeable man, and to young Arthur it seemed impossible. An impossible query, but since it was better than death, he accepted the monarch's proposition to have an answer by the year's end. Well, he returned to his kingdom and began to poll everyone. The princess, the priests, the wise men, and even the court jester. He spoke with everyone, but no one could give him a satisfactory answer. And many people advised him to consult the old witch, for only she would have the answer. But the price was high, and it would be high, as the witch was famous throughout the kingdom for the exorbitant prices that she charged. The last day of the year arrived, and Arthur had no choice but to talk with the witch. She agreed to answer the question, but he would have to agree to her price first. The old witch wanted to marry Sir Lancelot, the most noble of the knights of the Round Table, and Arthur's closest friend. Now, young Arthur was horrified. She was hunchbacked and hideous, and had only one tooth, and she smelled like sewage, and made obscene noises, etc., etc., etc. He had never encountered such a repugnant creature in all his life. He wished to he refused to force his friend to marry her and endure such a terrible burden. But Lancelot, learning of the proposal, spoke to Arthur, and he said nothing was too big of a sacrifice compared to Arthur's life and the preservation of the Round Table. So hence a wedding was proclaimed, and the witch answered Arthur's question. And here's how she answered. What a woman really wants, she said, is to be in charge of her own life. And everyone in the kingdom instantly knew that the witch had uttered a great truth, and that Arthur's life would be spared. And so it was. The reigning monarch granted Arthur his freedom, and Lancelot and the witch had a wonderful wedding. The honeymoon hour approached, and Lancelot, steeling himself for a horrific experience, entered the bedroom. But what a sight awaited him. The most beautiful woman he had ever seen lay before him on the bed. And the astonished Lancelot asked what had happened. And the beauty replied that since he had been so kind to her when she appeared as a witch, she would henceforth be her horrible, deformed self only half the time, and the beautiful maiden the other half. Now, which would you prefer, she asked him, beautiful during the day or the night? Lancelot pondered the predicament. During the day, he could have a beautiful woman to show off to his friends, but at night, in the privacy of his castle, an old witch? Or would he prefer having a hideous witch during the day, but by night, a beautiful woman for him to enjoy wondrous, intimate moments with? If you're a man reading this, what would your choice be? If you're a woman reading this, what would your man's choice be? Or think about that. What Lancelot chose is below. But make your choice before you scroll down any further or listen any further or just think about it. Okay, so think a minute, and then we'll get to the answer. All right. Had enough time? All right, here we go. Noble Lancelot, knowing the answer, the witch gave Arthur to his question, said that he would allow her to make the choice herself. Upon hearing this, she announced that she would be beautiful all the time, because he had respected her enough to let her be in charge of her own life. Okay, now that's the story. But what I want to know, is what is the moral to the story? What is the moral to the story? All right. Got your answer? Well, here it is. If you don't let a woman have her own way, things are gonna get ugly. There you go.